like the British left their colonies and left their wigs behind. You should have just followed them and say, yo, hey, you forgot this wig. Why would you continue this tradition of wearing wigs?
Hi. According to the dictionary, to be learned means to have acquired much knowledge through thorough study. Little wonder why lawyers call each other learned colleagues.
But one begins to question the intellect and the independent-mindedness of lawyers on the African continent,
when they can still think about letting go or coming up with another alternative to the 17th century outdated colonial wigs and gowns.
In Cameroon, which is a country that was formed by merging a former French colony with a former British colony, their judges wear these extremely elaborate French-British hybrid outfits. You have to remember, these people live in Africa.
So, the question that comes to mind is, how did the culture of wearing wigs and gowns begin? How did it get to Africa? And why is it important for us on the African continent to drop this culture of wearing wigs and gowns? Well, you'll find out the answer to this question if you watch this video to the end. Oh, if you love what I do, don't forget to share this video, follow this page, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So the history of wigs can be traced back to antiquity, back to ancient Egypt. But the kind of wigs our judges today on the African continent wear can be traced back to Europe in the 16th century. At the time, a disease called syphilis hit Europe, and one of the symptoms of the disease was balding head. So the men would wear wigs, big wigs, to conceal their balding head. One of the prominent men who popularized the use of wigs was Francis King Louis XIV. He began to wear wigs when he began to go bald at age 17. And because he was an elite, other elites began to copy the culture. And that was how the tradition of wearing wigs spread throughout Europe like wildfire.
The wigs were later adopted by the British court in the 1600s during the reign of Charles II.
And it became a symbol of the British judicial system. It's morning right here in Nigeria and it's already getting very hot. So like the wigs, probably due to the cold weather in Europe in the 17th century, gowns formed a major part of the attire. But the gowns were very colorful.
However, after the death of King Charles II, black gowns were worn for mourning the king. After the mourning period, the lawyers decided to keep wearing them.
And due to colonization and acculturation, black gowns were brought to Africa. And that is how lawyers in the African continent began to wear black gowns to our courtrooms, despite the hot weather condition. In 2015, a Nigerian law blogger, Chioma Onene, wrote, "I have never seen a more pitiable sight than that of a learned Nigerian lawyer sweating profusely under the sweltering heat while clad in the outdated wig and gown. Nothing more ridiculous." I agree. It's absolutely ridiculous.
How do you as a government say that you are a sovereign state and say you are against colonial power and what it has done to your country, and then go back again and buy the wigs from them, from the previous masters, and spend your money to get that wig, which that wig is not even used in the first place?
Debates and open eds have been written across different African countries on the need to discontinue this proud display of colonial relics in our courtrooms, but we have held on tightly to these attires even when the people who introduced them to us are making reforms to drop them. In defense of wigs and robes, a Kenyan lawyer said, "I don't feel at all it has any negative connotation of colonialism. It has risen beyond that. It is a tradition of the Kenyan bar."
This kind of statement from a learned Kenyan lawyer raises doubt if most of our so-called legal luminaries have a clue of our history. The call to jettison this attire isn't only about its inconvenience because of our weather. It's also about the system that introduced the dress code. Britain's colonial courts, which preceded independence, were brutal. For example, in response to the Kenya's Mau Mau rebellion in the 1950s, the wigged colonial judges sentenced more than 1,000 Kenyans to death for daring to challenge the colonial rule. Is this the kind of tradition this Kenyan lawyer wants us to uphold? I know that a lot of people would find this video trivial or unnecessary, but if you look deeply, you'll discover that this topic summarizes everything that is wrong with us as a people.
We cherish everything foreign, even when it's unsuitable for our living conditions. Even when things are made locally, it is stamped made in China or America, because many of us wouldn't buy if we discovered it was made locally.
In his derogatory remarks about Africans, Frederick Lord Lugard wrote, "The African is very prone to imitate anything new in dress and custom, whether it be the turban and flowing gown of the Muslim or the straw, hat and trouser of the European, however unsuited to his life and conditions." If this statement does not make you think deeply about our predicament as a people, I don't know what else. The culture that invented wigs and gowns is different from ours. There are a lot of talented designers on the African continent who can come up with something unique for our justice system.
If we can't come up with something as simple as creating a suitable attire for our legal practitioners, how can we attempt to address bigger issues?
So, forget about the big things. Let's talk about the small things. Solving smaller issues like this shows a sign of self-awareness and consciousness, because
it makes all the difference, and that is the step needed for us to achieve bigger things.
Thank you for watching. Ngafunu Ogozo. See you next time. Hey guys, thank you for watching that video. I appreciate you if you make it thus far. Before you go, I want you to meet my friend Akin. He makes awesome videos. I want you to check out his channel. I will leave his link in the description box below. He makes awesome videos about Africa, educative and informative. If you love my videos, I'm sure you will love his videos. Check him out. Thank you. I'll see you next time.